You're saying maybe you should not want a man with money so that you can find someone who makes you happy. And I am saying you should not push back on somebody's preference just so they can find happiness. That is a settlement. You should never encourage Black women to settle. The fact that Black women let me just okay. Please, can I finish my statement? Just no, you can't. Let me no. Now you gonna listen. Gotcha. Now you gonna listen. Now you gonna listen. Right. Listen to me. So now you gonna listen. Right. Let me just. It's giving pick me. It's giving pick me. It's giving pick me, and you do this to every Black woman that comes on here. But you watch my show, honey. But you hear at 4 o'clock in the morning. I love differing opinions. I love differing opinions. But it's giving pick me, Kendra. Just because you don't have high standards for yourself, Kendra, doesn't mean that you have high standards. You feel that way. You want to settle. We don't have to.
So guys, shout out to this TikToker that posted this video. This is a clip from Kendra G's show. So shout out to Life Goals 373. And I have a link to the TikTok. You guys can check out the video for yourself. But guys, as you can see, this woman is very angry. She called Kendra G a pick-me. A pick-me. Why? Because she tries to get Black women, and not just her, but also Kevin Samuels and other YouTubers that try to get Black women, and not just Black women, but women in general, to have more realistic expectations. And the crazy thing about it is whenever you expect women to have realistic expectations, there's a lot of backlash. Yes, you're allowed to have your standards, okay? But what do you bring to the table? You can't be out of shape, unattractive, you don't dress nice, you have multiple kids by multiple different guys, and then you expect for some handsome baller who's making not just 6 figures, because 6 figures is not enough for these ladies, who's making at least $250,000 and or more, preferably in the millions, who can travel anywhere at the drop of a dime, live lavish, provide for you, and at the same time does not expect you to be submissive, does not expect you to cook, doesn't expect you to clean, because a real man would not want that, right? A real man would not expect that. So basically a guy who's rich, who's in shape, who's attractive, who has all the women after him, but he only has eyes for you, and he has no standards, no expectations for you. He doesn't expect you to cook, he doesn't expect you to clean, because I don't need a cookbook. I don't need to cook. I don't need to clean. I ain't your mama. That is the mindset of a lot of women. Not all women are like that, but way too many women. And particularly, since the demographic of this content is Black women, unfortunately, that is what Kevin Samuels was trying to help. He was trying to get the message out there to help not just women, but also Black women. As we know, the marriage rates are very low in the Black community, to be more realistic with their expectations. A lot of women, like Kevin Samuels always talk about, they don't want the 9-to-5 guy. They don't want the accountant. They don't want the engineer. They don't want the business analyst, the guy who's starting off his career. 9-to-5 is not enough for them. They want an entrepreneur, or as they like to call, a boss dude that has status, that has looks, that has all the women after him when he walks into the room, but he only has eyes for her. He would never cheat. And at the same time, he has no expectations for her. They even talk down on guys who are plumbers, guys who are truck drivers. These guys make very good money, man. They make very good money, especially guys who are truckers and certain roles that require you to use your hand but are very in demand. You're always going to need a plumber. You're always going to need somebody to fix your AC. But a lot of women look down on these guys because, after all, you can't brag to your homegirl about how, oh, the new guy that you're with, oh, he's a plumber. They're not going to be impressed by that. They want a guy who's living the lavish lifestyle that we see on Instagram, the lifestyle that we see from social media that rappers promote in their videos, popping bottles, all eyes on you in the VIP, driving fancy cars, living in a fancy house. Sure, there are guys out there that are living that lifestyle, but it's very slim pickings. It's very slim pickings. So that is why Kendra G and also Kevin Samuels tried to make these women realize that they need to be more realistic. Now, guys, right here, I have the link. This is the census, all right? This is the census, the government website, all right? This is not anything fake. This is real. This is the people that have your tax returns, the IRS, the census report. They know the truth. They know how wealth in America really is, all right? Don't get fooled by the lavish stuff that you see. People that are being Instagram rich but are not really rich in real life. This is actual factual data. And I have the link. You guys can check it out for yourself. And they're talking about the income and poverty in the United States for 2020. All right. So, real quick, it says median household income was $67,521 in 2020, a decrease of 2.9% from the 2019 median of $69,560. This is the first statistically significant decline in median household income since 2011. If you did not know, everything is at sky high. And this was the census back in 2020. Imagine how bad it's going to be for 2021 when they look at the data, even 2022. This was back in 2020 when we had the pandemic. People were impacted, people lost their jobs, and income declined. And things have gotten worse since 2020. So expect for the 2021 and the 2022 census for the median household income to be way less. And mind you, this is everybody, all right? This is median income household. Now, I have the link. If you click on the first one right here, this is going to be the income summary Excel file for 2019 and 2020. I will show it to you guys. Please check it out for yourself. But let me open it so you guys can see. So as you can see, 2019 and 2020 median income, all right? So when we look at male householder, all right? So this is male householder, non-family. So these guys, they do not have wives. They do not have kids. This is basically a single guy who's filing single. Now, the median male household income for 2019 was $49,101. Now, for 2020, there was a decline, and it was $47,259. So income has gone down. But as you can see, the median income for just a single male in the United States has been $47,259. And this is all races. It's not just in particular black race. And as we know, a lot of the callers that are calling into Kevin Samuels, that are calling into Kendra G and these type of shows, they want a black man, all right? So can you imagine how low it's going to be when you just look into just black men alone? Sure, there are some brothers out there that are making high income, but it's slim pickings. That is why they're trying to make these women understand that you need to be more realistic and lower your standards, all right? Lowering your standards is not a bad thing. You can't be 40 years old and expect to be a new up-and-coming hot rapper. You can't be 40 years old to be short and expect that you're going to get signed to an NBA team. So when we look at black, we can see that the median income for black was $46,005 in 2019, $45,870 in 2020. Mind you, a lot of these women, they want guys who are making six figures, but 100,000 is not enough for them. They want a guy who's making 250,000. They want a guy who's preferably making millions of dollars. Talk about slim pickings. And you also have to keep in mind, based on the area that these women are at, the income is going to be very different. The chances of you meeting a guy who makes 6+ figures in Atlanta, in Miami, in California is way higher compared to in a city like Arkansas, Alabama, and these small cities, these small towns. There's a way lesser chance of you meeting a guy who's making that type of income living in those small cities. So that is another thing that these women have to take into consideration. Now, another thing they have to think about is, do these guys prefer women? Maybe they're not into women. That's another thing. Are these guys in a relationship? Or are they in a situationship where they have side chicks already? They have a little roster going on. Do these guys even want to be committed? Because a lot of men, especially the men that have made high incomes or up and coming that are working their way, climbing the ladder, a lot of them are shying away from relationships. A lot of them are getting turned off by the mindset that we see from a lot of modern women. They get offended by guys who expect a woman to cook, to clean, but at the same time, they expect the guy to be traditional, to bring high income, to make six figures at 18 years old, preferably make millions by the time that they're in their 30s. What these women also do not realize is that men do not reach their financial peaks until their 30s. And the way the economy is these days, most likely 40s. If you're expecting a guy to make six figures, you have to be willing to most likely date a guy who is in his 30s, but more realistically, probably in his 40s, if you want a guy who's making that level of income. Plus, you have to keep in mind the guy has to have a little swag, the guy has to be attractive, the guy has to be faithful just to her, he has to have a little charisma, he can't be a square, he can't be shy, he has to be able to work a room, he can't be boring, he has to be exciting, he has to be willing to live a lavish lifestyle, be willing to travel, provide for her. And then what does she bring to the table? Absolutely nothing. Or some of them bring a gang of kids and want him to be a stepdaddy because it's stepdaddy season, right? And don't forget, the guy cannot be short either. They don't want a short guy. And he has to be in shape on top of that. Talk about demands. Now, looking at the file, as you can see, the median male householder non-family income in the United States of all men, regardless of race, in 2020 was $47,259 and it declined. Now, expect for 2021 and 2022 to be even worse, even more decline with inflation. And the funny part, if you look at the female householder income, non-family, the average median income for females in 2019 was $35,044, which is less than what the men brought in 2019. And for 2020, it was $35,574, which is also less than what the man brought in 2020. So the average woman in America makes less than the average man. We know that. But at the same time, the average guy in America does not make six figures. But these women want a guy who makes six figures and brings all these different qualities. And then when you ask them what they bring, absolutely nothing, or they bring baggage, kids, dead weight, they have a crazy ex, and they attack women like Kendra G, people like Kevin Samuels, who try to make them be more realistic. So you don't want the guy who makes six figures if he's a plumber, because you can't impress your homegirls. You don't want the guy who has a 9 to 5 because there's no excitement. He can't be popping bottles. He has to be at work. He has to be at his cubicle. He has to be in meetings. You don't want any of that. So when you come across a woman like Kendra G and Uncle Kevin, may he rest in peace, what do? You attack them. You just talk all this negative things about them because they want you to be more realistic. Like Mr. Kevin Samuels always says, buy a dog and die alone. A lot of these women, they're not going to realize it until it's too late. Their standards are way too high. And the crazy part about it, they have all these expectations. But what about the expectations that the guy has? What about the expectations that the guy who is handsome, that is tall, that has the charisma, that has the high income? He has a lot of options. What makes you think you meet his standards? What makes you think he wants to be with you? What makes you think he even wants to be in a relationship monogamous with just one woman? What makes you think he even likes women? These women do not take these things into consideration, and they attack Kendra G, they attack Kevin Samuels when they try to make them be more realistic. Let me know what your thoughts are, alright? And with that being said, I am out.